Hello and welcome to yet another episode of Leadership Satsang. Thank you so much for accepting me as your leadership coach. I'm Yukti Kapoor Mehndiratta, always excited and looking forward to connecting with you all with a new message, an important question that needs to be answered in the space of leadership and spirituality, trying to do whatever I can and share whatever I know to help you with that question, with that challenge. Today, I want to take your attention towards the spiritual aspect of leadership. Not easily are they put together. In fact, there are a lot of contradictory thoughts, a lot of speculation, a lot of apprehension to use these two words together. And I believe that the reason for this disconnect or this disagreement is probably lack of knowledge, not understanding what spirituality really means. So, today I'm going to talk to you about what spirituality is and what it is not. What does it have to do with leadership? And what are the three pillars of spiritual leadership that we as leaders should be aware of? But before we start, today I want to bring in a new element in our leadership satsang. It is also our 27th episode, which gives me a reason to bring in something new because that's my birth date, or I could make any other excuse to bring in a practice such as this. And the practice is to do a little bit of centering. Before we go deeper with our knowledge, let us bring ourselves into this moment. So thank you so much for joining in, making time to be here with me. And now that you're here, let's be here completely. How we do that is by chanting Om. You may have done this earlier, but it's important to understand that there are many wrong ways of doing it, and then there is one right way of doing it. So I'm going to very briefly tell you what is the right way of doing this chant, and that will help you to get more benefits from this chanting, which in itself is very, very meditative. So before that, let me say a quick hi to people who've joined me live here. Ahmed, so good to have you here. Azhar, thank you so much. This is yeah, happy birthday. Okay, thank you. So 27th of June was my birthday, and I think that was a Tuesday. We were here doing some session, and what a great celebration of your birthday to do what you love doing. So thank you for your wishes. Let's have a quick hi from everybody else. And as you say hi, also prepare yourself to sit comfortably wherever you are for just next few minutes and ensure that your spine is straight and your shoulders are relaxed. Let's bring this practice in for every satsang session from here on. We will start our sessions with Om chanting. I wish I could do it for a little longer, but because we have so much more to talk about in just this 30 minutes window, we will probably chant 3 to 5 times, and I will leave this practice to you once you understand how to do it right. I strongly recommend that you do this every day. All right, Thirumal, good to have you here. Let us be ready. Now prepare yourself, please. Make sure that you're comfortably seated wherever you are. And don't worry about any mudra. Don't worry about any asana. Just make sure that you're comfortable. All you need to ensure is that your spine is straight and your shoulders are relaxed. It's not stiff, relaxed with a straight spine. With that, you can relax your hands on your thighs and gently close your eyes. When we chant Om, we produce three sounds. And these three sounds are produced from our navel and it goes up to our crown chakra. As you all know, there are 7 chakras in our body. When those chakras are in a straight line is when we feel centered, when we feel that sense of balance in everything we do. When we chant Om, it helps us to bring that centering in and realign the chakras so that they all fall in one straight line. When you're doing this right, when you're chanting right, you will feel vibrations in your body. When you're not doing it right, you will feel some slight vibration only in your throat, right? So it's like how we talk. When we are talking, there is not too much vibration that you feel. But when you're chanting Om the right way, you will feel these vibrations coming from your navel and going up to your crown chakra. How do we do this? We will break Om into 3 sounds. A, U, M. Right? A, U, M. A is produced from your navel, U from your chest, your heart chakra, and M through your throat chakra. And when they merge together, they create that vibration. And that vibration is what connects us to the universal energy. So whenever you think that you're not able to draw much sense out of what's happening in life, you don't know what to do, everything is all over the place, just find a corner somewhere and close your eyes and chant ohms at least 10 times. And then it's on you for how long you want to do this. For now, we'll do it 3 times so that we can go ahead with our discussion on 3 pillars of spiritual leadership. But as I said, I want this to become an element of our session every Tuesday. So let's learn it. And then next week onwards, we will just dive into the practice straight away. All right. So once again, bringing your attention to the posture, spine straight, shoulders relaxed, eyes closed, and your hands on your thighs. You can do chin mudra if you like, but don't worry about any mudra. As long as you're comfortable and your spine is straight, we're good to go. Okay, close your eyes and take a nice deep breath in. Let's take a nice deep breath in and breathe out. Allow yourself to be here in this moment right now. With another breath in, gently breathe out. Now, as we chant Om, it is always chanted as we breathe out. So we take a nice deep breath in and then we start the chant. And we keep chanting till the breath is totally out, till we have completely exhaled. Right? So I'm going to do this once and then you join me with the next one. We're going to do it 5 times. So we take a nice deep breath in. Just be with those vibrations. Keep your eyes closed. And fill yourself up with a few more deep breaths before you bring yourself back. Rub your hands and place them on your eyes and face, ears, throat, and the rest of your body, and slowly come back. Om chant is what helps us to connect with the universal energy that guides us and protects us. When we don't know what to do, this is the tool we always have available to us. So let's have a very quick sharing. If you did this with me, how does it feel right now? How are you feeling? How was this chant for you? And as I said, you could do it for as long as you want. But my recommendation is to do it at least 10 times so that you can actually feel those vibrations. When you think that it is only here in your throat, like how we talk, and that's the only vibration you feel, see if you can go deeper. You know that you're chanting it right when you can feel vibrations in your chest down till your navel. With practice, you will be able to feel it in your entire core, in your body, from your crown chakra till your hara, which is below your navel. So, how was this experience for you all? We're going to talk about spiritual leadership. We've got to first understand how to bring ourselves to the moment and then understand what spirituality really means. Feeling relaxed, Azhar? Beautiful. So, the beauty of Om chant is that it is not restricted to any religion. It is a universal chant. It is not any one religion's copyright that this is associated to XYZ religion or ritual only. No, it is a universal sound. In fact, every sound originates from Om, right? So it's as much yours as it's mine or anybody else's in any part of the world belonging to any religion whatsoever. And the best way to bring yourself into the moment. Super. So now that you're here, let us go deeper into our understanding of spirituality. As always, I'm going to open up your mind with my mind map, and I would encourage you to create your own. Okay, so I hope you're able to see my mind map right now. I want to start by sharing what spirituality is not. Very recently, I was talking to somebody about the spiritual leadership course that I conduct once every year. It starts in January, we conclude in December. In 2023, we're running a fourth batch. And he's somebody I know I've coached in the past, and I was curious to know why did he not consider joining spiritual leadership, given that he will benefit a lot. And since I know a few things about the challenges he's facing, I knew that the answers to his questions lie in this program. So when we were having a little light conversation, he said, you know what? I have no doubt about anything that you will ever put out, and I know for a fact it will help. But I'm a little wary of the word spiritual. You know, I don't go to temples and I don't fast and I don't do anything of that sort. So I was kind of concerned if I'll be able to connect to spirituality aspect of leadership. And that's what made me realize that if you hear any of these three things I'm about to tell you, then just run away from that place because you're not with people who understand spirituality. And so I'm going to use run as an acronym. Run if you hear people say, oh, spirituality is religion. It's not. Religion is about certain rituals, certain faith, some faith that you have, some practices that you bring in, which are more of rituals that you follow, mostly connected to some scripture that gives you a sense of direction of that particular religious philosophy, right? So spirituality is not religion. Run away if somebody tells you, you know what, spirituality and all of this is so unrealistic. It sounds great, but this is practical life, and that is spirituality. So not true. In fact, when you understand the real essence of spirituality, your life becomes better. The quality of life enhances to another level. If somebody tells you, you know what, not now, you're too young, you're too busy, you're too rich, you're too famous, you're too successful already, you don't need all this spirituality and stuff, is when you know that that's not the space where you have people who really understand what spirituality truly means. The right time to understand and practice spirituality is to do it now, in this moment, at this age, in this part of your life, at this junction, wherever you are. If you're in a good place, fantastic. Spirituality will help you to sustain that. If you're not in a good place, don't worry. Because once you understand what spirituality means, you probably will not feel the need to run helter skelter, wondering who has the right answer to my question. Because no matter what question you have, you already have the answer for it as well. It's there within you. The problem is we've not learned how to connect with that inner voice. We only understand inner voice as a self-critique. That critique who keeps telling you that you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, you're not intelligent enough, you're not rich enough, you're not enough. And we associate inner voice with that. So inner voice has become an enemy. Whereas that's not the real inner voice within you. Your consciousness is your inner voice. That voice which can answer any question that you can possibly have. And that will be the real answer for your question and not somebody else's answer. Because no matter how much people love you and how great they are or how much they wish well for you, they're only coming from their own experiences. They are not you. So what is working for them might not work for you. You need to be able to connect with your own core and your own consciousness to get those answers which you always had. You just didn't know how to connect to that inner voice. Spirituality helps you to get there. So what is spirituality? To my mind, spirituality is the reality of our spirit. It is the reality of our consciousness. It is that deep inner guidance that we get when we have to choose between the right and the wrong. As much as it is affected by our experiences and upbringing and environment, the inner voice is much deeper and beyond just these external elements which can affect the way we think. When we learn to connect with that core is when we are able to sometimes even challenge the beliefs that are holding us back. To be able to break out of those limiting beliefs, we need to first understand, who am I? And that is a very exciting journey. Unfortunately, it sounds so esoteric that we kind of yawn at this question that, oh my God, so boring. Who am I? Like, I don't have time for this. I'm too busy. Or I want to get there. And hence, I don't want to figure this out right now. When I retire, I'll see who am I and all of that. Or if I'm in some retreat in the nature is when I want to think about this. And then I come back to my rut and I feel this is unnecessary. If it's unnecessary to understand who I am, then how will anything I do make any sense? Think about it. If I don't know who I am, then how will I figure out what I'm up to? And what should I be doing? And what all can I do? And why should I do it? Who will answer these questions that we face in some time or another? And then we call it as midlife crisis or something like that. Anxiety pangs is another, you know, jargon that is very commonly used. What is all of that about? It's about feeling lost, isn't it? And when you feel lost, what do you really want to do? You want to come back home. And your home is here in your consciousness, within you. That's the center. And this center is not one point, it's not the heart. It is the alignment of all seven chakras. And that alignment requires a spiritual practice. So I want to share with you what are these three important pillars of spirituality and how you can bring in these pillars of spirituality in the way you lead. Okay, so if you're ready for it and you're with me so far, just say with you in the comments. I want to see if my live audience is going deeper with me because I'm like levels deep already and I can kind of feel the space that I'm in, and I hope that you're also here with me. So say with you in comments, please, if you've got what I'm trying to say, if this is making sense to you, just say with you, and I will know that you're ready to go one level deeper from where we are. Now that we know what spirituality is not and what spirituality is, let us see what are the three important pillars of spirituality and what does it have to do with leadership. When I said it's not unrealistic, how do we make this real? How can I be successful and also be a good person at the same time? Because somewhere we are made to believe that, all good people live a mediocre life. If you want to be successful, you've got to be, in Mumbai, we say shana, you've got to be like street smart. And that's a great skill to have, by the way. It's great to be street smart. But what is not so cool is to let go of the core values that guide us, is to not have the opportunity to connect with the real you, is to not figure out who you are before you're no more. If you're able to get an answer to that question, that in itself is a huge success for a lifetime. Trust me. And that will have a ripple effect in anything and everything that you do. So let me share with you the three S, the three pillars of spiritual leadership. The first S is satsang. Satsang is broken into two words. It's a Sanskrit word that comes from two words, sat and sang. Sat is purity or truth. Sang is a group or association. The reason why I call these sessions as a leadership satsang is because I intend this platform to be a platform where we are exploring the truth of leadership in a group or association of like-minded people. And hence, I choose to call it as a leadership satsang. It is Sat Ka Sang, the exploration of truth with like-minded group of people. So how does it translate into leadership? When it is said that you are the average of 5 people you spend most of your time with, it is as true as anything can be. So we need to be very, very mindful of the kind of people we spend our time with, the kind of conversations we engage with, the kind of topics that we explore. If you find yourself talking about somebody who's not in the room, please know that that is the lowest level of conversation you can ever have. And you are operating from the lowest level of intellect as an individual when you indulge in gossiping. What is gossip? Gossip is to talk negatively about somebody who's not in the room. And you could engage in that conversation with very good intention that, you know what, I am talking to Amit about Sunena, and I really want to tell Amit what Sunena must know about herself. But Sunena is not in the room. If you really feel that level of concern, then it makes a lot more sense to reach out to Sunena and tell her what she must know. What is Amit to do with it? Right? So when we are gossiping, a part of us wants to believe that this is not gossip. This is some important discussion. So I want you to question that. Have me sitting right there watching you, imagine me in the room, and then see if you still believe that this is a very fruitful, meaningful, intellectual discussion. Unfortunately, there's no way to justify that. All that you're doing when you're discussing somebody who's not in the room is gossiping. And gossip is a waste of your time. When you're gossiping with people, you must know that you're not in a satsang. There is no truth to explore here. So we need to very consciously decide the kind of people we want to spend our valuable time with, because that's all we have, limited time. What kind of people you attract is a function of the kind of person you become. If you are somebody who doesn't like gossiping, you will see that the gossipers will find you boring and they will leave you alone. They will let you be. You will automatically repel people who are not the kinds you want to be with, as long as you groom yourself and train yourself to become that person first, that non-gossiper first, and then attract people who believe in the same beliefs and same mindset, right? So that is what satsang is. The first pillar of spirituality is satsang. The second S of spirituality is sadhana. Sadhana comes from the word sadhu, which means going straight to the goal. Sadhu is sadhana, right? Sadhana is a spiritual practice. So anything that you bring in with the awareness and consciousness and intention to grow spiritually is a spiritual practice. I will say this again, right? When you bring in the awareness to follow the intention of growing spiritually, it is a spiritual practice. So it could be meditation, it could be walking in the nature, it could be sitting in silence for some time, it could be doing pranayam or breathing exercises, it could be doing some yoga asanas, because yoga is a workout technique or an exercise technique that helps you to be with your breath and helps you to be more in the moment. Unlike gymming, which I enjoy as well, and I've done a lot of workouts in my life and I still do it, but that is with the music on and you're trying to pump up your body, and it's a very different energy altogether. Yoga, on the other hand, just helps you to connect with yourself by using your breath. So that in itself is also a spiritual practice. You can choose any practice of your taste for as long as it helps you to consciously grow your spiritual muscle. What does that mean? You're able to connect with yourself and be mindful of the moment that you are living while you are still living that moment, being in the present moment. So bringing in the discipline to follow a spiritual practice is an ask from a spiritual leader. In fact, discipline is an ask from any leader. If you claim to be a leader or if you intend to be one, you need to bring in some level of discipline. Without discipline, growth is impossible. Impossible. You can learn whatever number of how-tos you like. You can delegate the work that you think you can't bring discipline in. But till such time, you do what you want others to do, others will not fall in line with your expectation. That's how it is. You've got to walk the talk, right? So decide on what will be that spiritual practice for you, and then bring in discipline to follow that every single day. In fact, some amount of study or self study can also be a spiritual practice if you're studying something related to spirituality, right? So, if there is a text that helps you understand how the mind works, what is consciousness related to, these kind of topics, if you want to go deeper and it's of interest to you, as you kind of take yourself through that learning and knowledge, it helps you to stay in that moment with yourself. It's very, very meditative. So, that could also be considered, in fact, is considered as sadhana. And then we move to the third important pillar of spirituality, the third S, and that is sadachar. Sadachar can be broken into sada, achar. Sada is good, achar is conduct. So sadachar means good conduct, good behavior. As a leader, when you represent yourself as someone who holds a character, which means who's more mindful of other people, more respectful towards other people, is when you are respected for who you are and not the position you hold. Sadachar is about ensuring that you practice good conduct no matter how bad the situation is. Unlike the popular belief that if you are senior, especially in sales, I see this very, very often, and I've seen it in close proximity in my own life, in my own experience. People don't hesitate to use abusive language and are very loud, very, very disrespectful, because it's a, kick the dog syndrome. I was treated like that, and that pushed me out of my comfort zone. So that's what I'm going to do to people. I'm going to kick them till they can't take it anymore, because that's how sales works, because that's how corporate life works. And all of these are the most unproductive ways, if I may say, to lead anybody. Maybe the fact that they are still with you is because they are compelled. It's probably the salary that is really, really important. And the day that's not as important, they'll be the first ones to run out of the door. I can promise you that. Respect begets respect. You cannot be respected for the title you hold. You need to be respected for the person you are. And the person you are is a function of the conduct that you put out in any and every relationship, whether it is with somebody junior to you or senior, somebody who's an internal stakeholder or external, somebody who's in the family or neighborhood. It is just who you are. It is not what you do or what you choose to do. It is just who you are. Somebody who has a good conduct and knows and is aware of how they behave with other people. So, to sum up once again, the three pillars of spiritual leadership is satsang, sadhana, and sadachar. Satsang reminds us to be in the company of those we want to be like, to stop gossiping. Sadhana helps us to remember that without discipline, there is no growth. And we need to bring in the discipline of a spiritual practice, whatever that may be, and bring it into a daily routine, not once in a while, not weekends alone, not only over vacation, but every single day. And Sadachar reminds us that our titles don't give us the license to walk over people's dignity. We need to be careful and conscious of the way we conduct ourselves anywhere and everywhere, because what you do sometimes is what you do all the time. Remember that, and also remember to share what are you taking away. That's all the time we have today. But I do hope to see you next Tuesday with another insightful discussion on spirituality and leadership. Till then, please make time to share with me how was this session for you? What did you take away? And when we meet again, we will start with Om chanting that can help us to be in here with us, with me in this session. And I urge you to bring this practice into your life from this moment on if it's not already there. It will help you in more than one way, and we can talk about it and have a whole session on this separately some other time. But I hope you're taking this away and a few other things. Would love to know what that is. Let's stay connected. And if you have any particular challenge you want me to pick up in the weeks to come, then do write to me on yukti@spyacademy.com. Thank you so much for being here with me and sharing your time with me. It means a lot. God bless you all.